Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. Well, in this week's guitar lesson, we're going to learn how to play several Lightnin Hopkins licks that are played with a pick. Now, I realize that the way that he played was finger style, but I get lots of requests, email requests, for more acoustic lessons, more acoustic blues lessons played with a pick. And so I wanted to take some Lightnin Hopkins licks and sort of transpose them into sort of a shuffle style played with a pick. So I'm going to show you how to play everything that I played in the intro, note for note. We'll break all of that down over 2 videos. So in this first video, we're going to take a look at the first half. But if you want to learn the second half, as well as download the tablature, you're going to want to go to ActiveMelody.com and look for EP088. That's a lesson number for this lesson. So let's go ahead and get started with part 1. Alright, so as I mentioned in the intro, all you're going to need for this week's lesson is a guitar and a pick. And you can play this on an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar. Maybe the desire to learn, you probably need that too. But it doesn't matter if you're a beginner player or an intermediate player or even an advanced player. You can do this. I'm going to break this thing down at a very granular level and we'll go through all the steps. So grab your guitar and let's go. So this is in standard tuning. And you may notice that I've changed guitars from the one that I played in the intro. And the only reason I do that is because this one has the fret markers, so it makes it a little easier for you to see where my fingers are without me having to vocalize it every time. So, okay, so this is in the key of E. And the very first thing I played at the beginning was I just strummed an E chord. I'm going to assume you know how to make an E chord. If not, there's a lot of material on that online. Make sure I'm in tune. There we go. So I played that open E chord. And then I went right into the little riff, which goes like this. So let's get into that. Now, if you'll notice what's going on with it, let's start with the left hand, then I'll get into the strumming with the right hand. But the left hand is just holding down that E chord, but my pinky is creating the little melody part. And it starts here on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, which is an E7th chord. But then it slides down to the 2nd fret, 2nd string. And then the pinky comes off to create just that E chord. So it's a combination of that little melody that's being played with the pinky and the strum that give you that feel. And that's what I'm doing to create the melody with the left hand. Very simple. It's not that complicated. Now with the right hand, I start with kind of a down stroke, or really just playing on that low 6th string or the low E string to establish the root, and then we get into. Now, one thing that you're going to notice when I'm strumming this is the flow with my right hand. It never breaks. It's just always a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, kind of like this. So it's not super rigid. It's not like this. It's kind of got a little bit of shuffle to it. Down, up, down, up, down. You're kind of stressing that down. And before you even get into trying to play the lead part or the melody part, just try getting, mute the strings and try and get that feel down. And once you got that going, what you're going to do is you're going to apply it to what I just showed you with the left hand here. So it's going to sound like this. See how the left hand never breaks? Just keeps that down, up, down, up, down, up. Let me slow it down for you. So one other little tip that'll help you with this is when I'm playing, this is a downstroke. Think of this as a downstroke, this is a downstroke, and then when I take my pinky off, it's an upstroke. So you have a downstroke, and an upstroke. Now I realize that there's more going on in between, but those happen on the down, down, and the up. So watch this. Down, down, up. See it? Let me do it again. Now after I did the up, I go the upstroke, I go down, up. So I went down, up. Now we do it again. Down, down, up. Up, down, up. And then we go up, down, up like this. Up, down, up. And if if you're a beginner player, you know, you're going to struggle with rhythm. I remember having a really hard time trying to get that with my right hand, but over time, just practicing that, set a metronome, and just try and get a groove. But before, if you're struggling, start it with just trying to get it down at its most basic level, which is just the motion of the right hand. And once you can get the motion where it starts to feel right, and you're not dropping your pick into the sound hole, and you know it doesn't feel awkward, then you can move on and start introducing the notes. Okay, so that's the E part of the song, right? Now, I do this little thing where I go to an E9 chord. Let me show you where that is. I slid up. Now, that is not something Lightnin Hopkins would do. That's my own little twist on this. But I just thought it, you know, kind of jazzed it up a little bit. And it was kind of a fun way to do it. You can leave that chord out. You don't have to play it. But if you want to throw it in for fun, here's how I'm doing it. I'm starting here actually on the, so that would be sorry, on the 6th fret. So I'm taking my middle finger and I'm on the 6th fret 5th string. My pointer finger is on the 5th fret 4th string, and my ring finger is on the 6th fret 3rd string. Okay, and then I take my pinky. So if you look at that little shape, that's the D7th shape. Think of the D7th shape. I always kind of visualize that in my mind when I make this 9 chord. So I do that there. Then I take my pinky and I bar the first 2 strings on the 6th fret here. And that's the first chord we play to slide in to that. So it's actually a D sharp chord that you're playing for, or D sharp 9 chord, sorry. And then you slide into the E chord. It's the same shape, you're just starting it here and sliding it up. So where you want to resolve it is here, so your middle finger is on the 7th fret 5th string, but you're starting it here. So that's how you make that 9 chord. And it's a great little chord to use for jazz or blues, and you know, I use that chord all the time in my playing. So that's why I wanted to throw it in. And the timing of that may be challenging. If you find that it's too hard to come up here and switch chords and then come back into position, you have 2 options. You can either leave it out, which would be fine, or you can switch the tempo. This would actually sound really good played very slow. So you can play it that slow if you wanted to. But that's how I'm making that. And I'm just kind of sliding right into that D sharp 9 up to the E 9. And then we're back down to the E, the little melody part. Now watch this. Then I come up and I do a similar thing, but for the A part. I go. And so for that, I'm not playing a 9 chord, I'm playing a 7th chord. So this is going up to an A 7th chord. And let me show you how to make this A 7th chord. Just think of an A major bar chord, right? Just like playing an E chord, you know, where your nut is your bar. You're using your finger as a capo here, and you're playing the E chord, which is the E shape, rather, which makes this an A chord on the 5th fret. Now, so you make that, and then you take your pinky off. And that one little change switches it to a 7th chord. Hear that? So that's how I'm making it. It's actually easier to make because you're just putting 2 fingers down instead of 3. And I find myself using that chord shape a lot. So that's an A 7th chord, but we're going to start with a G sharp 7th chord. And we're going to slide into it like that. So what you're doing is you're kind of mimicking what happened with the E9. When you started on the D sharp 9, this time you're starting here. So you're starting really with a bar on the 4th fret. And then you're going to slide up to that A 7th chord. Okay? So let me back up and put that in context so you can see where we're at. So we have. Now we're into the A position, right? So what's nice about this is, since your pinky's already off, it's just kind of hanging out there, to create that same melody like we did here, you're going to do it here. And if you think about what's happening, you're really doing the exact same thing that you did here, The nut is your bar though, right? So now that your finger is the bar, you're kind of playing the same chord and you're doing that same little walk. So your finger starts here on the 8th fret 2nd string, comes down to the 7th fret 2nd string, and then comes off the fretboard. So that's the little melody part. But when you play it, you're going to strum the whole chord like this. Okay, so it's the same little strum pattern as we're doing down here. Again, watch the right hand. It's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Let me slow it down for you. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. That's that little thing like we did down here, right? So you're accenting on the down, down, up, down, down, up. Even though your hand's going back and forth the whole time, I'm calling out where it should be when you're playing the melody. Down, down, up. Then you do a down, up. Down, down, up. So, okay. So that's the A part. Now, after that, I'm back to the E. Now watch this. Then real quickly I come up and I do a C9 down to a B9. So it's kind of a cool, kind of a jazzy twist. Again, not something you would hear Lightnin Hopkins do. This, however, is Lightnin. Alright, now, as I mentioned in the intro, he plays finger style. So he would play it more like that, but I wanted to kind of translate this into something that you can do with a pick, because I know a lot more people know how to play with a pick than they do finger style. And you could always, if you are a finger style artist and you wanted to take this, now that you know how to fret this stuff, you could always kind of translate it to a pick, something, or finger picking style. But so let's go back to that turnaround, which is where we get to the I'm sorry, it's not the turnaround, it's the 5 part in the song, then 1-4-5 progression. So we're gonna start here on the C9. Now I'm making it exactly the same way that I made when I came up here and played the E9, or sorry, the D sharp 9. Same exact pattern. The difference is your middle finger is down now on the 3rd fret 5th string. So you have, there's that little D7th shape, remember D7th here? And then you take your pinky and you bar the 1 and 2 string on the 3rd fret. So when you play that, that's a C9. And you play that just once, just to slide it down into the B9. And the B9 is really where you want to be. That's the 5 chord. So okay, so that's what I did. Now let's get the timing of that. So once we're playing from the E, see how I had to cut that, I had to truncate that little E9, or the little E melody part a little bit. So I went, so you can hear it in your head, so just practice that. As soon as I hit that last part where I go, you follow it right up with that C9, B9. Now after I play the B9, in this position, I come up here and play it here. So it's still a B9 chord, but I'm playing it in a different voicing, a little higher on the neck. And I just thought that had, again, it's got more of a jazzy feel to it. But just, it sounded right. I always do these little recordings of myself playing this, and I listen to it in the car and see what I would change. And when I heard what I originally did, I played, just kind of hung out on the B9, but I thought, or down here, but I thought it needed to go somewhere else. So I threw in this voicing of it. Now let me show you what I'm doing up here to play this B9. Alright, so here's how we make the chord. Our pointer finger goes down on the 6th fret 5th string. Our ring finger goes down on the 7th fret 4th string. And our middle finger goes down on the 6th fret 3rd string. That leaves our pinky, so that's a little D shape. Now it leaves our pinky free to bar the first 2 strings on the 7th fret. And that's a B9 played up here. Now it's going to feel kind of awkward if you're new to playing this chord. But if you practice a little bit and think in terms of the shapes you already know how to make that D shape. So really that's most of the chord. You're just really kind of making the D, you're making it in a different place, and then you just use your pinky to bar the other 2 strings there. So that's, if you think about chord shapes you already know, you're going to find that that D shape like this, or the D7 shape, is used in a lot of these chords, like probably 70% of them. It'll just sort of help you get there quicker. Alright, so let's go back to the C9, B9. So we go pop, pop, and we come up here. And then I do this little walk down that goes, and it's played with single strings, so I go. So, and that is a Lightnin Hopkins lick that I heard him play in something. So we start this by sliding up with our ring finger up to the 7th fret on the 1st string. And it's just a straight walk down. So we're going to go 7th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret, all on the 1st string. Then we're going to come down to the 3rd fret on the 1st string. And then we're going to play the open 1st string. That's the first part of it. And then we're going to come down to the open 2nd string, or the B string. So we have. Then we're going to hammer on. I use my middle finger for this. I hammer onto the 2nd fret, 2nd string. Just like that. And then we're going to do an upstroke with our right hand and play the open 1 string again. So when we put it all together slowly, that's the little lead part, if you will, a little melody part. Now I follow that up with a low E, or the low 6th string. And you can hear what that. How that puts you back in position to do the little turnaround, which I'll show you. So before we get into the turnaround, let me back up and play everything up to this point, just so we can put it all in reference. So here we go. I'll play it slowly. So after I hit the low 6th string, then I'm going to come up and I'm going to play the 1 string. Actually, the 1 and 2 string even work. So, and I'm going to do a downstroke and an upstroke. So this is what I mean by that. Like that. So down, up. Now watch what happens. This is a little turnaround. So let's learn that. Very easy to do. We're going to start with our pointer finger on the 3rd fret 2nd string and our middle finger on the 4th fret 3rd string. And we're going to play just strings 2 and 3, those 2, with a downstroke. So watch the right hand, downstroke, and then we're going to do an upstroke on the open 1 string. And then we're going to do that again. We're going to slide that down. There's that open 1 string again. Slide it down again. Open 1 string. Okay. So let's get that. So we have. And then we're going to complete it with the E chord. And for that, I'm going to play the open 2 and 3 string. It's the B and the G string. And as soon as I play them, I'm going to hammer on to the 1st fret, 3rd string. And then I'm going to do an upstroke on the 1 string, or the 1 and 2 string. Actually, I'm grabbing a little more than the 1 string. So, great little turnaround. You can use that in anything you play, any type of blues. It's very predictable, something you've heard before. And you can do different variations on it. You can go... That's another little thing you may want to consider doing. Just put my ring finger down on the first string there. You know, Robert Johnson would use that a lot. And he would do it finger style. That kind of thing, right? Okay, I'm digressing, but anyway, that's a fun turnaround. Now, after we play that E chord, we're going to real quickly go into the B7th chord for that final piece of the turnaround, and that's just a B7th played with. It's just, in fact, it's just like that B9 chord that we learned. Exactly the same. The only difference is instead of using your pinky to bar those 2 strings, you're not going to bar them. You're only going to play the 2nd fret 1st string with, because you don't have. I mean, you could play the 9 chord there, but it's just easier and quicker for me to grab the 7th chord, which is like that. And then you're ready for the part 2, which is where we get into all the kind of higher lead part. But that's going to be for the 2nd video. So let's take a recap of everything that we've gone through here, and I'll play through everything and play through it slowly. And hopefully any questions that you have up to this point will be answered just in kind of watching this. So, all right, let's start this. So we have... Now you could just repeat it there if you wanted to. You could go right back in. You know, you don't have to go to the 2nd part right away. If you were wanting to rearrange this and make it, you know, extend it, I would probably repeat that as a verse and go through it again. But that's what we have for this part. Make sure you watch the 2nd video to learn the 2nd half, and also make sure you go to activemelody.com and go to this EP088 and download the tablature. Everything is all tabbed out for you, so it'll make it a lot easier, so you don't have to sit and pause the video as much, you know. Okay, let's go to part 2 now.